Welcome to episode 10 of TZO. This is the Zilliqa Observer. The podcast has been on hiatus for quite some time after coming out of the gate just a little bit too hot and fast this year. We've put out more episodes than planned, way ahead of schedule. The original plan was to put out 12 episodes per year, and even with the hiatus, we're on track for somewhere around 15 to 20. In this particular episode, I'll be chatting with Nik Lewis, founder and CEO of AO Sports, which just a day or two after this episode initially airs, will be having their token launch with the help of UFF Sports, which many of us here already know. There were a number of connection issues that Nik and I fought through and during and all throughout the recording of this particular episode, so your patience with some of the abrupt cuts or temporary audio drops is much appreciated. I promise it's not nearly as bad as I'm making it sound, but you'll hear a glitch every once in a while. So, hi everybody, I'm Chase Raz. Let's get to it. This is episode 10 of TZO. Hi everybody, this is TZO, and joining me today is the Nik Lewis. Nik, how are you today?
I'm doing great, brother. How about yourself? I'm
doing really well. I want to introduce you for a moment, but then I want to know what I missed, because your background, your resume reads just so impressively. I think a lot of people would know you because you played slot back in the Canadian Football League, in the CFL.
Yes.
Let's see, what was that? For 14 years, right? Was it 14?
14 years, man. 14 great years in the CFL, 11 in Calgary, where I am right now, and then 3 in Montreal.
Montreal. When I take a look at some of your stats, it says you have the most career receptions in the CFL. Does that still stands, right?
Yeah, it's, the cool part about the 1,051 catches is anybody that's really good is probably going to spend some time in the NFL. So to put in, 14, 15 years at the kind of the pace that I did, it's going to be really tough for guys. And if you're going to the NFL at all, 2-3 years, it's going to be hard.
13,778 receiving yards. That's fifth in the CFL, right?
Fifth in the CFL.
To play that slot back position, you have to be a true athlete, do you not? I mean, you have to be able to run. I think you did track in high school. Excuse me, you did track in high school, right?
Some track, mostly triple jump.
I mean, the stats speak for themselves, but you also have a YouTube channel, Lulu Vision, where you interview other athletes now. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Lulu Logic podcast. So he used to give me a hard time with it. So now I just have a podcast, and I always like to enjoy the journey of these athletes and business people, because people think you just wake up and all of a sudden when they see you on the big screen or they see you making plays, it's like, okay, where did he come from, or overnight success? But there's many years that's put into everything that you're doing. And when you do it, when you do that, you have to understand the journey. So guys like Alex Singleton with the Philadelphia Eagles now, getting cut 7 times the year he came out of college and not finding out he was a Canadian until right before the CFL draft, going up there for 2 or 3 years and being a defensive player of the year, and now going back to the Eagles. Amazing story. So getting some of these amazing stories and the journeys of guys and women that have almost quit from their path, but they gave it one more try and it ended up working out. So, we always have to prepare for that moment. Even with AO Sports, I started my podcast because I knew I had a TV show I wanted to do, and I needed to get reps and I needed to get work. So what a better way to start a podcast, get the reps, get the work. And that's like my practice, right? Now I can be better in my show. So that's how I approach life. That's how I approach sports. And it's the same concepts.
Well, I love that, because the work is paying off. And I think anybody in any industry can relate to the fact that we're viewed as, this one-dimensional being. Somebody sees you in one capacity. Oh, you're an athlete. It just must have come easy to you, or you're just there. And that's so not true, right? We don't necessarily see the work that somebody put in from maybe the time they were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Sure, there are natural talents, and we can all get really jealous of those. And everybody has their own natural talent, but the work that goes into it, and I would say, would you agree with this? I would say that a lot of athletes are really business people behind the scenes, and the fans may never see that part of, their favorite athletes.
Yeah, I would like for more athletes to be more business minded, right? That's one of the biggest issues with a lot of athletes is people approach them about things in business and they don't have any clue about it. They see the money, they see the different financial help that could potentially happen, but they really don't have a great education on what they're getting into,
Right.
right? So just want to help athletes into that space. And, you know, I think sports is a great way to transition. I mean, for life, as far as, I wake up every day to compete with life. I want today to be better than yesterday. I want to, we all know that things are going to happen in life, but we got to accept that challenge, right? When bad things happen, we have to accept the challenge and we have to figure out ways to do it. And whether you call the day a turnover, whether you call today a fumble, whatever you call it today, a mountain, it's all about how are you going to progress through it and get to tomorrow, right? And then you get a better start for tomorrow. So whether it's preparation and consistency, those are the things that's really made my life what it is, because I'm used to that. To be a pro athlete for 14 years, it has nothing to do with talent. Talent fades, and if you're only there for talent, it will fade and you're done. So you have to start to understand it in so much deeper. And it's the same thing in life and business, right? How many times do business professionals fail at things and they just retweak things and just continue to move forward? You have to have that same mentality.
Failure, all those failures, there are more failures than people see, than they know. And the next thing, same thing on the business side. Next thing, you buy something nice, you go to a nice dinner, and people look at you like, wouldn't that be nice? And it's like, man, you didn't see the struggle. You didn't see how bad it was.
That's it. It's always a struggle somewhere. And
Yeah.
you got to embrace that struggle and that grind.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, I know that we're all not, we're not one dimensional people. So I want to make sure that I give you an opportunity to introduce yourself as well, beyond football, beyond AO sports, just you as an individual, Nik. I want to get to know you a little bit better. How would you describe yourself? Who are you? Who is Nik Lewis?
I'd like to think I am love. I'm peace. Um, when raised by my grandparents in a very humble beginnings and understanding the grind my grandfather went through, the things they did for me, my mother and father, the different things they done for me, the people around me that have accepted me, that have embraced me. I truly believe that everything that I am is a representation of those people, right? I took pride in the name on the back of my jersey as well as the name on the front of my jersey. So I wanted to respect that name and I wanted to be able to carry that with value, right? So everything that I am is just that. It's I hang with everybody. Um, you know, unless you're doing something I don't want to do, then I don't hang with you, right? So it's one of those. I guess you would never know that I played football outside of my physique because I really don't ever talk about it. It almost feels like a different life. I enjoy what I've done. I enjoy the fact of knowing what I accomplished, but I look forward to seeing how bigger life can be, how much more I can accomplish, but also how many more people I can help.
Yeah. And that's good. So, and it seems like the story doesn't stop at those stats we were listing before, the receiving yards, the receiving touchdowns that you have, which is a sizable number of those as well. It's not that one dimension. There's so much more. And I love how you said it feels like a whole other life. For cryptocurrencies, for blockchain, for crypto assets, all of that area, I think a lot of us and a lot of the folks who watch this channel, we feel that way with crypto. We feel that way with blockchain. A lot of the people we may interface with on a daily basis don't know we invest. They may not know, we're into the technology scene at all. How did you come about joining all of us here, right? We all have these unique backstories, but how did you come about stumbling, if you will, intentionally finding whatever that backstory is, finding blockchain and the crypto space?
It's crazy. 2014, I'm driving back to Calgary. It was my last season in Calgary. I drive from Texas to Calgary, and I get this. I don't remember how I heard it, but it was talking about Bitcoin. And I was just like, you know what? I want to get some Bitcoin. And
Smart
as I'm
move.
driving, I'm researching how to get Bitcoin. I could not figure out how to get Bitcoin. I think it was around 100 some dollars, $200 at the time, a coin.
Hmm.
I could not find anywhere how to get it. Nobody around me knew anything about it. Um, I've always been open, like to try new things, to do new things, because I think if you close your mind, you miss so many great opportunities. So I was trying to get it, I couldn't get it, and went away from it. In the process of AO Sports, I was like, man, we need our digital currency because I see it, and I equate all of it to kind of like Fortnite or NBA 2K. And I'm just thinking, man, there's such a great way that these video games are incorporating their own digital currency,
Right.
right? So whether you call it digital currency or crypto, we're more of the digital where it's a utility coin, right? So it's used inside of our platform, just like you would go to Chuck E. Cheese and things like that. So that's how I kind of stumbled into it. I've gotten a lot more education on it. I guess I'm well versed enough now to be able to talk on it, but there's so much more to learn on my side.
Look, I'm really happy that you refer to it as like Chuck E. Cheese because so many people think I'm insulting when I say that, and I'm not, right? If you've ever seen me, if somebody sees me at a Chuck E. Cheese at my nephew's birthday parties or something, you should see I'm about to drop a couple of 20s on tokens, right? Like I believe in that. It's a
That's
compliment
it.
in some degree. Now we can
But
all
I tell
pick on.
people all the time too, though, what if they only gave out so many coins every day at Chuck E. Cheese and you were the first one in there and you bought up half the coins? So then at the end of the day, you come back and everybody's there waiting to play games and you have all the coins.
That sounds more like a Dave
You
and
have the
Buster's type of
power.
play.
Right now, you can sell those coins for whatever you wanted
Right.
because now you have the leverage, right? So I just think it's already been used and in multiple ways. Now it's just digitally.
So let's backtrack for a moment because Bitcoin was the initial, and then you're kind of circling back to it. Did you go away from 2016 and then in 2020, 2021 start coming back, or was there any crypto in between for you?
Yeah, so I can't remember what the name of it was. I became a part of another project in around 2018. Had a great concept, but they never delivered.
Mm,
Right? They never delivered on their concept. I dumped thousands of dollars into it. They never delivered on their concept. But I didn't say that, oh, this sucks or this doesn't work. I was like, no, it had a great concept. They just didn't deliver.
right.
So then I was engaging and intriguing enough to say I want to find something that does work, right? So I went out and got a couple different cryptos. I have about 3 or 4 crypto wallets. I have a couple different cryptos, mainly from people that I know that have a lot more knowledge than me that said, hey, these are a couple good ones,
Yeah.
and things like that. But yeah, man, I've kind of dabbled back into it, starting in 2018, and then really in the last year and a half through AO Sports, I've been really looking into the digital currency.
So AO Sports, and I also like that you keep talking about digital currencies and not just from the crypto point of view.
Yeah,
My day job, a lot of the viewers of this channel know that I teach at a university. We specialize in these 21st century type things. We've got an e-gaming program. We have one of the leading esports teams in the Southeast. I teach an entertainment business. And so from that part of my life, which I don't normally incorporate into the channel, but I'm really resonating with the fact that you're mentioning digital currencies. I want to talk more about the distinction to you, the utility of the token, and what's coming with the token. But for those who may not know, and including me, right, I can't follow everything in the world. Could you give us a walkthrough AO Sports? What is it? Where does it come from? What's the origin of it? Where is it now? Just sort of a general overview of AO Sports so that we're all caught up.
so AO Sports is a concept that I've kind of created, and it's kind of cool. Well, it's not kind of cool; it's really cool.
Really cool.
Now that we're in this, we talk about decentralized banking, right? Well, I'm doing the same thing in the sports world with decentralizing the media sports assets, right? So we give the athletes the ability to own their content 100%, always have control of their content. We're not going to be a Facebook or Instagram or YouTube where anybody can come post. Sit down, we do a media assessment on what they want to accomplish. This is all about branding. This is all about you can see in the life of these athletes. If they want to do like weekly vlogs on how they're prepping, what their game is like, everything leading up to that, they have 100% control over that. And then we release it through AO Sports, which is an exclusive subscription-based platform. So $7 a month, you're going to get access to all the athletes on the platform. And I always think we have to lead with education. We have to educate people. We have to educate the next generation that's coming up. And how can we do that? So we have ability to do pay-per-views. We have the ability to do lives. We have the ability to do video on demand. We have the ability to do series and what we're calling AO Evolve, which is your personal evolution. And a part of AO Evolve is sport-specific training. So if Jerry Rice wants to teach how to play receiver the way he did and show you drills that he did and do things like that, you're going to be able to get that. You can buy those packages right off of Jerry Rice's page. Warren Sapp teaching how to play D tackle, right? So we have some of the greatest athletes that's going to be teaching their skills. We're also looking to team with, we've already partnered with some of the top sports trainers in the world that's going to be doing fitness training. So in-season workouts, off-season workouts, recovery from injuries, all these different things. We're going to be doing well-being and mental health, right? So we're going to build in mental health courses to try to strengthen the mental health of some of these younger athletes. Because I always struggled with one thing. I always felt like I was you, but I was never treated like you, right? I always got treated like I was on a pedestal, and I didn't want to be on a pedestal. I just knew what I did on game day was superior. But when I walked outside the lines, I had no superiority to anybody else. When we stepped inside the lines, I said what I needed to say, I did what I needed to do. But outside of that, it didn't matter anymore, right? It was a job that I went and did. I executed my job at a high level. So I wanted to make sure that these kids understand how powerful they can become through mental strengthening and to be able to get over these hurdles of understanding where your value lies. Does my value lie in my ability to play sports? And then when I don't have sports, I don't feel valuable, right? So we need to do these things, and we need to prep people, bring in business professionals to teach finance, to teach crypto, to teach real estate, and all these different things. So AO is just an encompassing part. Is we lead with content, but we have so many other factors for people to be a part of that to get the education. And I believe that a lot of that stuff on Evolve is just as important for the athletes that's producing content as the members that's coming into the platform as well.
And so those members are primarily going to be younger athletes and other athletes, or is it more of a B2C play with general fans and consumers? Because it sounded more like athletes.
Well, it's going to be for both. So it's going to be for the younger athletes, current athletes. It'll be for fans as well. We're going to be very fan engaging. So every time we do something, we're taking the fans with us. So we've already been invited to World Cup next year. So if we go, we're going to give away, if you pay your monthly membership, you automatically are eligible to go on this VIP trip, right? To win a free trip to Qatar to go with us. So everything that we're doing, from our Super Bowl party in February in LA to the Grey Cup party in Hamilton. So we're about memories and experiences. We want to give you the memories and experiences and just have fun and enjoy. Like I always say, closing the gap between the fan and the athlete, because that's where I think it should be, right? Sure. Fans are rarely treated well. If you look at it from some organizations, the athletes is the same thing. You can't have pro sports without the athletes, and you can't pay the athletes without the fans. So those are the two most important aspects of what we do. And we want to make sure we take care of our fans, and we want to make sure that we can close that gap, and the fans get what they want, which is be closer to the athletes, get more content straight from the athlete without some ESPN or somebody else saying, hey, you can't say this, or you can't say that, or you can't do this. Well, if they own the show, you're going to get it straight from them the way they want to give it.
Yeah, especially over the past few years as they've done some retrench from community initiatives that they used to be a part of, and at least some that used to bump up with me in education. And the education part of it, first of all, I want to repeat something. A few moments ago, it's been a while, so Nick, nothing to worry about. But a few moments ago, there was another glitch in the internet connection. So for those watching, we've been having some internet troubles today on both ends. And so what people may not have heard is you had mentioned that the content is curated. So the content comes from athletes, it's curated, and it is not, right, it's not some open platform like YouTube, but it's giving the power to the athletes to create and curate, or where AO Sports is curating the content.
Yeah, so we partner. So my chief content officer has been in media over 30 years. He's owned his own media company over 20 years. So we're able to produce this set that's behind me. It's a straight digital set without green screen. So I don't have a green screen behind me right now, which you can see some of the edges because I don't have it. But at the end of the day, we can create high quality content, 4K and down. If you've got a chance to look at the UF auction, we did that auction live on our platform. We haven't even launched yet. We launch next month. But the cool part is we just mix with these athletes, and we know athletes don't have time to do things all the time, right? We don't have time to go to a studio, don't have time to do all the setup. And some of them don't even know how to do it.
Right.
Talking to Jeff Garcia, he didn't know how to do all the media tech stuff. So that's where we come in from my chief content officer side and their company. They say, hey, what do you need us to help you with? We can do editing. We can do the digital sets. We can help set up everything. We can send you the lighting. We can send you the green screens. We can send you whatever you need. So now you can do your content from anywhere in the world. And now you create
Yeah.
that freedom,
I think
right?
that's
But it's
really,
high quality content.
it speaks to something because you focused before on the educational portion, especially to younger athletes. And, this is
Yeah.
something as an educator myself has been the bane of my life, if you will. And so I think you're really solving some of the problems and applying it to a specific industry in a really clever way. When we learn about business or athletics or any industry you want to go into, right? Whether you could go to manufacturing, you could go to development, whatever it is you want to do, we tend to like to consume materials about that thing.
Yes.
Maybe we don't always like the textbook, but we like to learn about, this person who's made it before. We like to, if you're a developer, you like to learn about programming languages. If you're an athlete, you like to learn about different physical techniques. And one thing that's always been a burden, I think, for bringing new people up in any field is that we tell stories about, okay, well, here's Bill Gates and he, did this thing and he sold this thing to Microsoft and boom, then, the rest of history wrote itself. And you think, but how did he sell that thing to Microsoft, right? And you see an athlete and you think, yeah, but okay, they got to this particular team and then the career really took off. But what's the work that athlete put in when they were in high school? What's that work they put in when they were, right, when they were trying to get drafted? And I think there's a lot of the story we miss that only the athletes can tell because it's not in the financial interest of the larger media conglomerates to focus on that.
No, they just want content, right? For me, like I said earlier, it's all about branding. We want to improve your branding. So each athlete that's on our platform will have their own channel with their own banner heading. And in that banner heading is so cool because that's all about them, right? So it's a real cool banner heading. And then we can implement sponsorships in that heading that increases the athlete's value. I've always said that if the athletes can make more money, and I know that sounds crazy to some athletes, but for majority athletes, if they can make more money consistently throughout life, then at this point, they can now only focus on their social impact. How can we impact people? How can we go into these schools and impact the kids of those schools? How can we go impact different companies from mindset of what it takes to be an athlete? I mean, most people don't understand. I've been working on AO for over 20 months. And the thing is that I never doubted.
Right.
But at the same time, when I in my football career for 14 years, the job, there's a guy on the road every day. There's multiple scouts on the road every day. They're looking for my replacement. Through the off season, they're looking for my replacement, right? Every
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
they're looking for my replacement. It doesn't say that, in football, there's no guaranteed contracts, right? Especially in CFL. NFL is the only thing guaranteed is what you sign, your signing bonus is usually spread out over the years or whatever. But most people think there's a lot of money in it. Well, you only see the top probably 5 to 10% of people. The rest of the players aren't really making money like that. And if you take $1 million over the course of 3 years and you make $1 million each year, that's not nothing to live off of, because after taxes, after paying your lawyer, after paying your agent, after paying living expenses, after doing all these other things for 3 years of your life, you're not being able to say, I can go retire.
Right.
Right. So there's a big misconception on how many people actually make money. I got friends that played 7, 8 years in the NFL that work a 9 to 5, just like a lot of other people. Right. Because it's not that they spent their money wrong. It's not that they did anything wrong. It's just that they didn't. I mean, most people go to college for something they're going to do for the rest of their life. As an athlete, you go to college hoping you can do something for 1 to 3 years, and then if you're lucky, more than that after. And so we just want to help with that as well.
As someone who has in the past run the numbers, I did a project years ago that started in the business world, and we wanted to educate business people about the realities of how far are you likely to make it in business and what are you likely to earn, because there's this idea that everybody's going to be a CEO and we're all going to make millions. And we took average executive compensation and we took the average executive longevity, which is surprisingly short, right? You would think, oh, you make it to an executive, you're there for 20 or 30 years. I think it was surprisingly short, somewhere between 3, 5, 7 years, something like that. It's been a long time. But what was funny is when we applied this to when we applied it to business folks, it almost mirrored professional athletes to a T. It's the conception that, oh, well, we're all going to be, the top draft pick, and we're all going to, we all can't be Nik Lewis with the most career receptions. And that's fine, because what you're doing is trying to level this playing field off of the playing field and say, but what can you lean into? So for business, for sports, for almost every single field, I think that's very true, is when you're saying, well, I'm only going to be here maybe 5 years. Can you imagine how successful that is to get 5 years as a top premier athlete in a league? And then to think, what do I have to make in 5 years to then be able to support the rest of my life, given the physical effort that I've put into this, the damage to the body, all of that. Those numbers, if anyone's never seen them, are astounding of what type of salary you would need to make for an average career. So no, I'm right there with you, and I thank you for focusing on that in an area that needs to have that focus. So with AO Sports, give me some of the timeline in terms of availability, any type of additional athletes coming on, some of the offerings and stuff coming up, because in just a moment, we're going to want to turn our attention to the token launch, which is, it's coming up relatively soon. So let's talk about AO's timeline and then maybe move into the token, if that's all right with you.
Yes. So our timeline is, we're looking for right now with the developers developing the platform. We pushed back 70 of the 300 employees at the company that's building our platform got COVID. And dealing with tech, you can't just.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's going to slow things down.
Exactly. We're about 45 days behind, but that's okay, right? It's always on time. And with that, you can't just implement new people into the tech, right? Because there's so many intricacies in what we're doing, and it's so different and multi-dimensional. So we're looking at a September 7th launch right now of the platform that'll be web-based. Following 2 weeks, we're looking to release our mobile apps, which will be on Android and iOS. And then shortly after that, our TV apps. So we'll be on anything Android TV, Fire Sticks, Roku, LG, Samsung, and all that as an app on there that you can log in and do things. So if you're going to be training, you got to have the access on your phone, the TV, and the website and different things. And you got to have that availability to do those things from anywhere in the world too. We always want you to have your access to your athletes right there. So that's our timeline with the platform. As far as athletes go, we're signing athletes all the time. We just signed Ryan Malone, a hockey Olympian. We have Akeem Haynes, who's a bronze medal Olympian. Eric Metcalf, which is NFL legend. And we have so many more. Terrence Bud Crawford, Jamie Cudmore, one of the greatest rugby players of all time, 20 years rugby experience for Team Canada and also in the top league in France. We're just signing more and more people on a daily basis. Another cool part about AO is here in the next couple of weeks, we'll be releasing AO Morning. So AO Morning is going to be a topical show 5 days a week that you'll be able to see on our platform for free. You'll also be able to see it on YouTube and Facebook and some other avenues. Will be on regular cable television as well. And it's going to detail what's inside the platform. We'll talk about current sports from a global point of view. Let's say we have Terrence Crawford on now. We talk about his upcoming fight and talk about what content he's bringing to the platform. So every day we're being able to reach people through our own show, right? We have multiple CFL guys on board. Luke Mullender, Charleston Hughes, Bo Levi Mitchell's joining. So we're right now, we're 100% with the athletes we've talked to. Our pay structure, it sounds really crazy, but someone like Messi, right? We know Messi's got a ridiculous contract, right? At 160, or he just ended at $168 million deal, right?
Right.
Well, if Messi, in the way we pay at AO, if Messi were to convert 10% of his following on Instagram to AO to watch his content, Messi would make $37.9 million a month on AO. But we also have a team revenue share because AO Sports is a team. Now, everybody gets a percentage of that as well.
Right.
That's a part of the team.
So right? There's a lot of incentive.
There's a lot of incentive for athletes to come and bring their networks and to be able to, because we share ownership with you. This is about opportunity and ownership.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, sorry. I was just, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, all good, brother. So it's a great incentive for the athletes to come over. When we look at the numbers, the comparisons on what you're paid on other platforms to what you're going to be paid on AO, and even our team revenue share. Is one of the cool parts about being a team is this: you don't compete with teammates, right? You only encourage them, you only enhance them, right? So when we have athletes branding together, we have athletes coming together. If we do an AO Sports cruise, and then we're bringing on our sponsors and our athletes, and you have athletes from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, and then we can bring our fans in that as well, right? So this is merging worlds, and this is about people empowering people,
right?
And that's ultimately the biggest goal. And the last straw is the token, because we want to empower people. And how can we empower you without it, right? I want to be able to show you that you being a part of our platform, we value you. It's not just paying a membership to watch movies like Netflix or some of these other streaming services. We want to give you benefit through a ranking system where we can reward you for being active in our platform, right? We can do that through our token. We have so many other big things that's coming that I'm working with the top guys at Zilliqa right now so that we can do more things that allows us the ability to do so many more things on a global platform, right? And that's the best part about it is we can actually give back through that token.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is, as this is a business show, I'd like to ask a couple questions here. And Nick, because we haven't had the pleasure of meeting before, I do want to let you know 100%. I'm going to ask some tough questions here, but I don't do gotchas on this channel. It's because we're a business channel. So I have a couple of follow-ups. Regarding the timeline, September 7th potentially is a target for the launch right now. You mentioned there are some delays because of the developers, the amount of COVID that's at the development team. Is it realistic? Are you at a point to where enough development has happened on the mobile apps that realistically you'd be looking at a 2-week, follow-up for the mobile apps? Or is this something where, you as the executive here are kind of saying, you know what, let's take maybe a more measured approach. Would it potentially be a month, 2 months?
Well, we started this process of building the platform out in April, okay. Right? So they've been working on on the mobile apps and the web apps. Two different teams working together from two different projects standpoints, and they've been working concurrently on that. Anybody that knows the back end of all the things that we're doing, you get the front end look, you get the front end web design, and you have to go through all that. What do you have to see it, feel it, understand the look and feel. Do you like this? Yes or no? Then we went to the back end stuff, and the back end is way over my head. My chief technology officer knows all this. So they do all these meetings. They meet 5 times a week, and it's great. So from that standpoint, they give us our timelines. We were looking to have our beta out next week, but we skipped the beta because they needed to do a week testing to do that. So we said, hey, let's skip the beta, go straight to the actual launch. And that's what we're looking to do. So it's really realistic because we've been working on this for months and months at a time. So the only slowdown has been, like I said, COVID. Unfortunately, one of our members over there has his dad just passed away a couple weeks ago. So it was a week off for that. But
sorry to hear that.
Other than those unforeseen things like that, it's been a great process, man. I truly love working with Kiwi Tech and understanding what they do on a high level.
So thank you for that. The next question I have is, when you were talking about some of the athletes coming on and some of the revenue potentials, I think from an initial overview, everything sounds really good from the customer side, but I don't know nearly enough about AO Sports to know some of the revenue model, right? Because if somebody's buying into tokens, they're buying into the AO token. The question would be, okay, where's the compensation coming from? So when you mentioned Messi, because that's the one you put a number with, that's a player you put a number with, not holding you to that by any stretch of the imagination, but are those projections based on ad revenues? Is this ad supported, or what's the revenue supply and the confidence in those numbers based on the projections you have currently? Like, sort of, where are they coming from?
Yes. So one, we're never going to be a completely 100% crypto platform, right? You're going to get discounts for using our coin for our pay-per-views and things like that. The numbers come from our revenue share. We share a percentage of the membership with the athlete, right? Okay. So when you come onto our platform, whatever athlete brought you to our platform, you'll be able to select that athlete, and then we do a revenue share with that athlete for that membership, right? And then we have the team membership share, revenue share, part of the membership. So having Messi on the team improves our team, right? Just like having Messi, if we had a soccer team, having Messi on our soccer team improves our team, right? It's going to improve the amount of people in the stands. So we built it just like that. Also, they'll get a larger percent of the sponsorship. So we can break down all the how many clicks on your channel, how much watch time on your channel for your channel for your content. You roll ads inside the content because you're already paying for the services. But other than that, we can do a lot of things from a sponsorship.
With the AO token launch, right, there's this idea of the Chuck E. Cheese token, or Dave & Buster's or something like that. But there are certain jurisdictions, especially here in North America, right? When we get to the United States, as an American, the SEC, if there's any expectation of profit, it's a security, right? And in Canada, right, while there's not necessarily a federal or national equivalent to the SEC in each province, so out of where you're, depending on where you're located, how are some of these things being addressed?
Well, the good part is we talk to blockchain lawyers. We've had many conversations. All those things, we're working through all the details for those things on a daily basis or weekly basis. But as far as our token, right, the athlete coin, it's a 100% utility token that has utility within our platform. We even put our own disclaimer on there. It's not made for, we know the value will change, but that's always set for the utility, the value of the utility. But the aspects that we're using our token is to get discounts, to be able to be a part of exclusive trips, to be able to be a part of exclusive merchandise giveaways and things like that. So our token is an exclusive token. We just purchased one of the teams. We have the number 2 draft in the UFAFL draft. And we're going to be selling back 20% of that team to members that we know in our community that didn't have the opportunity to go out and pay the amount of money that it took to purchase one of those teams.
Right.
Right. And we'll be purchasing a basketball team for the UFBA auction as well next month. So everything that we're doing, we just want to improve people's ability to have that power. Right.
Yeah.
And we feel like our token inside our community is going to be so much more powerful.
So the token's focused on the utility of like you mentioned, the discounts, really a redemption or I don't want to say purchasing. We have, right. Even though that may be the spirit of it, we have to be very careful with what the technical term means. So a redemption for everything from merchandise to services to trip discounts to trip participation. So the utility is there.
Think of this as a digital sports community, right? No matter if you're a soccer player in Slovenia or if you're a football player in the U.S., it's people coming together. They're fans. I've never met a fan that was only a fan of one sport. So if you're a fan of sports, you're going to watch multiple sports and you're going to do multiple things. So in creating that, you always know that every community's got a school. That's the education, right? Every community's got a bank. Every community's got this and that. So we want to be able to grow this out to be the best digital community of good people helping other people. My job is to make sure that we're compliant on all levels, make sure that we're moving together, and to make sure that everything that we're doing is only to support our community and support our athletes and fans.
So I think a lot of us in the Zilliqa space particularly know of you and AO Sports through, at least through this current awareness, through UFF Sports, through UFFS. How did that connection come to be?
So I actually met with the Algorand group to do our coin, and I was going to go with Algorand. It was a great company. And then my CTO was talking to Tony over at UFFS, and he was like, hey, you need to have this meeting. I think we aligned really well on what we're trying to accomplish. And the only reason I took the meeting was because of my CTO. And then after I got off the meeting with Tony, I was like, we're going with Zilliqa, we're going with UFFS's team. And we really love this strong partnership that we have, because everything we're doing is to empower the athlete, right? And you can empower the fan, because now as a fan, you can be paid off the athlete forever, right? So everything we're doing works so well together. It's empowering people. So I truly love, working with that team on a daily basis, because we have so much more coming. And, they have their sports network. So the UFSN, that's going to be live on AO Sports as well. So I'm looking forward to all the content they're going to be producing through AO.
We'll get to see plenty of Darren. We'll say hi to Darren there.
Plenty of Darren, Andy and Darren.
Plenty of Darren all the time. That's good. That's a good thing. Look, from a business perspective, I will say, I'm a business professor. I've got my MBA. I'm in the crypto space. I've only been in the crypto space for maybe about, other than just investing in ETH from the past, for 2 or so years. And it does concern me a little bit that there's the talk of, the fans can profit with the athletes and share off of that. I know that there are similar projects that are having some regulatory trouble with that. If you have a token that's going to share the profits of something and you have an American customer, it concerns me if they're not KYC'd, right? If you don't follow the know your customer, anti-money laundering, right? Are you going in a path where there will be KYC for American and other jurisdictions that require it? Or are you for now, at least, focusing only on the utility side and crossing that bridge later?
Yeah, so we're focusing on the utility side. Like I said, we're having talks with blockchain lawyers and lawyers on my team. So one of my board members is one of the top 5 defense attorneys in Texas. So we're having these conversations. For us, we have to be compliant, right? That's number one. We don't want to get shut down. We don't want to do anything that's going to hurt our community, right? So we understand the ability to be compliant. So our biggest focus right now is on our compliance and on the utility of our token, we have great utility in it. It's going to be great for our platform.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's I always worry about it because people will then come back to me and say, "Okay, smart guy, then what should we do? If it's a concern to you, what should we do?" And the idea is like, I don't know. We're waiting. Same story you're in. I'm sure you get told this every day. We're waiting on the SEC to finally make a decision on what we're supposed to do. And likewise in Canada, right? You have every province having their own regulatory
And it
agency. It's
changes,
like,
and it changes every month. It's just like the
yeah,
COVID restrictions. Every week, every month, there's different things that change.
yeah,
So we have to stay in these conversations. And like I said, just I know what we're doing on the media side with AO Sports.
yeah.
But the people I'm talking to, from the blockchain lawyers to our guys that are helped me put this together, the same ones that put together for the UFFS, they're helping with the making sure we're compliant.
So for the these final two questions I have for you, one, I think you've kind of addressed this, but I want to give it more air to breathe, and I want to have more of an opportunity for you to really just tell us this vision you have. What's next for AO Sports? What should we be looking for? What will pump us up?
Man, we've got some great unique content coming out from so many great athletes. I mean, I know my show, The First Down Factory, is going to be coming out soon. We have some weekly content. These vlogs are going to be amazing. Eric Metcalf has a great concept of a show. We're working with another producer. I just want to state too that we're not just all athletes. We're actually having sports media creators coming over to our platform as well. So we do have some people from some bigger networks coming over to AO that's going to be bringing their content. That's going to be helping with production of shows and doing different things on that point as well. So um, we have a blueprint. Ray Sean is going to bring some great things from the scouting department of talking to coaches in college, talking to people, kids coming out of high school. What's that recruiting process like? Doing all these different things. So we have some great shows lined up coming to AO. Like I said, we're looking forward to doing some unique content that's straight from the athlete, right? Without anybody above them being able to tell them what they can and can't say, what they can and can't do. We're looking forward to our combine training. I just thought I was a Division II walk-on. I didn't have a chance to go to the combine. I didn't have combine training. Right. So for all these kids that don't get combine training, or if you want to go pro and you can do combine training every off season now through AO Sports, how much valuable is that? That
Yeah.
you can train with the top athletes because you're getting the same drills they're getting, you're doing the same workouts, and you can go watch them train. That's so much value to what we're doing. So, and even as a fan, right? How much of a fan would you be to say, look, I get to see Najee Harris work out, or watch his workout, or what's the process? What is he going through as he leaves
Yeah.
Alabama and working out, and how's he handling his classwork? How's he doing this? How's like all these different things that you're going to be able to get from AO Sports because it truly empowers the athlete.
That's so valuable, especially for up and coming athletes, young folks who are trying to learn and follow and emulate and really admire and hero worship, if you will, a lot of the older athletes than them, right? When we're talking about a sixth grader that sees someone leaving high school, getting drafted into college ball, and then from college going into a league, it's mind boggling. And I think that's a really good
Yes, it
influence.
is.
So last thing here, where can everybody find you and AO Sports? Where do you want people focusing their attention when they're doing their web searches, when they're on social media now? Where should everybody be funneled to really get their eyes on this, to get excited, to get pumped up, and to join in the fun?
Oh, awesome. Yeah. All of our handles on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook is AO Sports TV. So you just put in AO Sports TV, you can find us there. Go follow us, like us, subscribe to us, and be ready to join up in all this fun. And AOsports.tv is the platform. We have a makeshift platform up right now. If you haven't seen it, you can go check out the UFAFL draft. We had Chris Carter on, Michael Vick, Nate Burleson, Bud Crawford, Ryan Malone. So we had a lot of great stars on, Walt Harris. And you can see the type of production that we do, right? It's our first production that we did. And I always tell people we're a startup company, but with our media, we have well over 30 years of experience in doing that. So I'm very confident in the high level quality that we can put out. Also, there's a couple other podcasts on there from Charleston Hughes, who's 28 sacks from the all-time record in CFL history. He's got the Better with Age podcast on there. We have the Squadcast on there right now. The Rod Peterson Show, which is one of the top three trending sports shows. We have quite the shows that's on there right now that you can go check out. It's going to be so much more dynamic, and you're going to love it.
I want to make sure that you have the absolute last word here. Anything you want to promote, plug, talk about, say to everybody listening. Want to make sure the floor is yours as we wrap today.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Chad. Talk about AL Sports, and I think it's important for people to understand that when you see this world that we're living in, there's so much negativity, right? There's so much divide. And the one thing that does bring people together is sports, right? And we want to bring people together, and we want to build this community about positivity, right? You can't comment on this stuff on our platform unless it's live. If it's live, there's a live chat. Outside of that, we want to keep it in a positive direction. We want to make sure that you're getting as a fan what you want, what you desire to get as a fan. And we want to make sure these athletes are protected as well inside our community. So I just want to say thank you for sharing your platform, for sharing your time with me. And I'm just glad I was able to come on and do this. So peace and love, everybody.